Students, today we'll be talking about the nature and scope of public finance. Public finance is not a new subject itself, and it has been studied since ancient times, but scientifically its study has become possible in current times. In ancient times, the area of this subject was limited, but today its area has become more vast. Today, the functions of the modern state are expanding continuously, especially after the establishment of welfare state. The state has entered into the economic lives of the people that its absence cannot be imagined in current times. Today, the function of the state is not only arranging for security and arrangement of law and justice, but also it has to perform many welfare works. The government of every country has to perform certain special functions which can be classified under two heads. The first, which is called the obligatory functions, and second, which is called the optional functions. To perform all these functions adequately and efficiently, the government needs funds from the public. Therein comes the concept of public finance. The term public finance is a combination of two words, namely public and finance. The public is represented by the government or the state. The other word finance means money resources. These money resources are in the form of income and expenditure. Thus, public finance refers to the systematic study of the operations of public income and expenditures of the public authorities. In the narrow sense, public finance is defined only as the study of income and expenditure of the government. But the broader view is that public finance does not deal only with income and expenditure of the government, but also the sources of income and the way of expenditure of various government corporations, public companies, and quasi-governmental ventures. But before we proceed further, let's have a quick look at the definitions given by various economists. Now, Adam Smith defines public finance as: public finance is an investigation into the nature and principles of the state revenue and expenditure. Dalton states, public finance is concerned with income and expenditure of public authorities and with the mutual adjustment of one another. Finlay Shiraz states, public finance is the study of principles underlying the spending and raising of funds by public authorities. According to H.L. Lutz, public finance deals with the provision, custody, and disbursement of resources needed for conduct of public or government function. According to Harold Grooves, public finance is a field of enquiry that treats on income and outgo of governments, that is, federal, state, and the local government. Richard Musgrave states that the subject matter of public finance is logically, though not solely concerned with the financial aspects of the business of the government. Let me remind you that Richard A. Musgrave has been called the father of modern public finance. According to C.F. Bastable, public finance deals with expenditure and income of public authorities of the state and their mutual relation, as also with the financial administration and control. Public finance thus refers to the income and outgo of the governments in the pursuit of national objectives. It involves the inflow of financial resources in the form of taxes and other revenues, and the outflow of such resources in the form of expenditure to finance goods and services. The public finance cycle can be shown with the help of the following figure. Now the public finance is shown in the form of this flow chart. This is the process. The brown box shows the formulation of fiscal policy. Coming to the right side, the green box shows the generation of revenue from taxation and other resources. Next, moving down, the expenditure of funds through the national budget. On the left side, at the bottom is shown the public borrowings. Then comes the accountability, and finally the circle is complete with the formation of fiscal policy. Thus, there is no denying the fact that the science of public finance deals with the finances of the state. But in public finance, we not only study the activities of the state as the want satisfying activities, but also study the financial implications and other aspects of such activities. As stated earlier, a state, especially the modern one, has to perform manifold functions, and for the performance of these functions, funds are needed. So, the scope of public finance is the study of collection of these funds and their allocation to various branches of activities. The scope of public finance can thus be summarized as, these can also be referred to as the components of public finance. They can be summarized as: first, public revenue; second, public expenditure; third, public debt; fourth, financial administration; and fifth, economic stabilization. Coming to the first point, the public revenue. The income of the government through all sources is known as public revenue. This component deals with the different sources and methods of raising the revenue to the government. It also studies about the classification of taxes, burden of taxes, effects, taxable capacity, etc. Now second, public expenditure. Public expenditure refers to the expenditure incurred by the public authorities. This component deals with the principles and problems related to the allocation of government spending. It also studies about the classification of public expenditure, its effect, public expenditure policies of the government, and trends in public expenditure. The third, public debt. Public debt refers to the loans raised by the government, both internally and externally. This component of public finance studies the need for and method of raising public debt and problems related to raising and repayment of public debt. The fourth one is financial administration. Financial administration refers to the study of different aspects of public budget. It deals with the organizing and disbursing of the finances of the state. The objective of framing budget, the methods of framing it, sanctioning and audit, etc. are studied under this. The last one, economic stabilization. This concept of public finance studies the use of public revenue and public expenditure to secure economic stability and growth. It includes various economic policies and measures of the government that are used to achieve full employment, balanced growth, and optimum use of resources. That's all for today, students.